Hi everyone, it's Charlie Veitch from the Love Police. I like to come out every once in a while and put my ideas on camera very much as a form of diary for my own perusal in the future, and also just to keep everyone updated as to what's going on and so forth with the Love Police. I just want to start off by saying I've been at Sunrise Festival last week, and that explains the lack of videos for a week. I went there with a kindness offensive. And I've been incredibly moved by the hundreds of people who came up to me and hugged me and expressed their gratitude for my films and my friends' films, for the resistance and for the general awakening of humanity away from statism, away from fear, and away from ignorance and greed, I guess. If we're trying to work together for some sort of evolution of mankind, we need to start doing away with the old. And as I said in my last video outside the Gherkin, when the little midget security guard was trying to tell me to stop, is, well, this shit has got to stop. I just want to recap just basically why I make these films. I make these films for two reasons, which are very connected. The first one is to try and be altruistic and try and inspire people to not be slaves anymore, and to just remind them that because you are conscious, you are the be-all and end-all of your existence. Many people will joke and say, you're not the center of the universe, but there's a little secret. You are. You are the center of the universe. Just don't be arrogant about it. Don't be selfish. Don't be some sort of egotistical maniac, because so is everyone else. We are all participating in some insane lucid dream. Reality is a dream, and what you see is the manifestation of everyone's dream together. And this camera right now that I'm using here, this is some Japanese guy's dream at Panasonic HQ. There's a plug for you, but I'll never plug anything else. It's a dream that he came up with the idea of a full HD camera, and suddenly it's in front of me. But like any dream, they fade. When you start to wake up, the dream will fade and the camera will fade. Anyway, coming back from that tangent, the other reason I make these films is because I want to document my life. I want to have a record of my own spiritual, political, and philosophical awakening, because I'm undergoing some incredible amounts of deprogramming, and sometimes that deprogramming accelerates, such as at Sunrise Festival, where there was 7,000 extremely kind and beautiful people on the same level. And I don't think I've ever hugged as many people in one place in my whole life. And the funny thing is, I even hugged two policemen at the festival. Anyway, there's the V again. V. I did promise in my last video that there would be some megaphoning, so stick to the end of this video. There will be some police, there will be some megaphoning, there'll even be horses. Anyway, I got a phone call yesterday from a gentleman who is a detective, who will be known in this video as JW. You know who you are. You're a man who I do actually respect, because you speak truthfully and you speak openly. And you phoned me and you informed me that the Crown Prosecution Service, the Queen's Prosecution Service, and here's surprise, drum roll, have dropped the charge for the royal wedding arrest of conspiracy to cause a public nuisance. Surprise, 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 the Crown didn't think me doing a YouTube rant was evidence of a high-level conspiracy to assassinate Prince William or whatever they were doing. It was insane. But the charge for aggravated trespass, the case of mistaken identity, because the security guard in the witness statement, he has confused me with someone else, and this is in the statement which my lawyer sent me. He says, yeah, I identified male A, and then I subsequently recognized him as the activist Charlie Veitch from the Evening Standard newspaper. So I'm sorry, Mr. Security Guard witness, your psychology has been compromised by the parallel multiverse space-time continuum dichotomy which you have suffered from. You mistook a UK Uncut protester for me, then you saw my face in the newspaper, you may have seen videos of mine, and because you are still at this stage of awakening, you consider me an enemy, and so you conflated the true nature of reality, which is that myself and the other guy were wearing balaclavas and then you gave a statement to the police naming me, thus forcing the police to arrest me and keep me for 24 hours. But we all know the real reason the police kept me for 24 hours was to keep me out of the way for the parasite royal propaganda spectacular wedding between Willie and Katie. And to add insult to injury, the motherfuckers, man, like, I live in Cambridge and they've been made the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Cambridge, sorry. There's life imitating art, imitating life, imitating art. And I have this hope in my heart. I have this desire that some secret agent or some Royal Protection Squad officer will have shown, or Prince William with his friends from St. Andrews or whatever will have seen one of my films criticizing him a lot. And like, listen, William, there's nothing against you as a human being. I think truly in this world there's two types of people. There's interesting people and boring people, and I'm sure you'd be quite interesting to have a few gin and tonics with. But you got to quit this whole ridiculous kind of thinking you're a prince thing, thinking you're a duke. You are no more a prince or royal as I am. We are both just flesh and blood kind of organobots with the ability to manifest the one consciousness through our heads, okay? And it's funny in a Monty Python kind of way that you must wake up every day in your palace or wherever you wake up, Willie, and you must actually think that the whole world revolves around you. But here's the secret: it actually does. Anyway, talking about let's move on to anarchy and many thoughts I had at sunrise. Of course, as I very proudly state, as I very openly state in my films, I am an anarchist, and this isn't so much a reflection of where I want the world to be. This is a sudden and horrific realization that we do actually live in an anarchic world. No one is in charge of your reality except yourself. The evidence for this is that absolute nobodies can change the course of history through assassination or through bombing or through writing incredible books or poetry or making a film. You can talk your way out of pretty much anything because the people you may consider your enemies or your captors are as human as you are. And they can be hacked. Their reality, their emotions, their psychology, their spiritual well-being can be dictated by how you act around them. And to give you an example of this, when I was arrested for the royal wedding, I was treated with the utmost respect by the detectives and the police who came across me. And I was out in 24 hours. But this brings me nicely on to a statistical analysis of my freedom. In the preceding 7 years before I began doing Love Police work, I would spend 40 hours a week, 48 weeks a year in an office, 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day. That runs up to thousands of hours in basically prison. And then in the last 2 years of Love Police work, I have spent 3.5 days. Whereas before I'd spend 5 days a week in an office, I've spent 3.5 days in custody doing some good reading. And there's a shout out to Derek Jensen who wrote Endgame. I read Endgame Volume 2, obviously after Volume 1, for 18 hours straight. And I actually radicalized myself and almost memorized an incredible quote by Frederick Douglass, an escaped slave, who says that the only way we'll actually get change from the powers that be is through words or blows or both. And I don't want it to come to blows, and I don't think the powers that be want it to come to blows, because they will lose. Of course they lose. The people always win when there's an uprising. So we are kind of having that conversation. But on the 4th of July, Independence Day for the Americans, and for me personally, I will be accepting the invitation to go to Westminster Magistrates Court, and I invite all free men and free women and free children and free human beings who consider themselves sovereign to please come along and show me some support. I will need you there, both physically and emotionally and psychologically, to to stand alongside me, and we're all in this together. And I would do the same for you when the time comes. The plans for the Love Police headquarters are coming along very nicely. In our decision making, we've come to the conclusion that due to security reasons, due to the fact that there are death threats coming in, due to the fact that there is infiltration issues with what we do, it cannot be in an open house manner, and we need to carefully invite people. And a few of you in the recent past will have received a hemp bracelet from myself. This is a badge of trust. A few others will be contacted by telephone, and you are the first batch that will come here for revolutionary purposes. But we must bear in mind that this house could be bugged, so we need to be... You know what I mean. The Love Police Academy, the next one, will be in Manchester on the 2nd of July at 2 p.m. in the city centre, and keep an eye on my website for the exact details. I've had to change it because some shit came up, but it'll be the 2nd of July, and then 48 hours later we're down in Westminster for Independence Day at Westminster Magistrates Court. At the courthouse in Westminster, I am unable to accept the jurisdiction of the judge or the court over me. I am a free human being. I am a manifestation of that which we all are in Kesh, my brothers and sisters. And so with absolute respect to the judge, I will accept your invitation to come and speak to you, but I cannot sit in your glass cage in the corner. I cannot answer to the legal fiction of Mr. Charles Torres Veitch. I am commonly known as Charlie. I am son of Diana, goddess of the hunt, and of John, the sailor. And I'm as free as you are. And because this is a political case, because this is purely to keep me out of the way for big events like this, I need to just stand up for myself, and I hope you will all be there with me. So without further ado, because many of you have been asking for this. Oh yeah, one other thing as well. Under my favorites tab on YouTube, if you want to see the latest YouTube film of the Love Police back in central London when they got rid of my bail conditions, please have a look on the favorites tab for the Love Police back in central London. And there's some good Top Shop stuff in there and so forth. So without further ado, in Kesh, namaste, I am you, you am I. We're all in this together. Here are some police horses, here is some megaphoning, and here are some people who should go back to work. So, with love, Charlie Veitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's important to bring police with horses into Soho, because many of you have been very, very naughty, so we'll have to kettle you and charge you with the police horses, yes. Come on, you can smile, police officers. It's okay, everything's fine. I mean, you're on a beautiful, muscular animal. It's okay. Don't worry, those horses look about as bored as you do, don't they? Those horses would rather be charging 14-year-old female protesters and, you know, kettling them. People in those offices behind, get back to work. Come on, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here, madam. Get back to work. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, your government has everything under control as long as you obey. You know, just do as you are told by the people in the fluorescent techno clubbing jackets.
I'm not the best one to explain this.
We have to admit, the British police are the nicest police in the world. I mean, try pulling this stunt in Iran and see how far you get. But ladies and gentlemen, whilst I have a captive audience here, isn't it wonderful how we live in a democracy, allegedly, yet the police, who are meant to protect us, have the Queen's crown on their helmet. Well, not the helmet you're thinking of, the main helmet. It's wonderful we live in a democracy where we send soldier to go and spread democracy around the world by people wearing the Queen's crown on their helmets. Okay, police, you've been awfully boring. We're going to go into the deepest, darkest Soho and go meet some gay people. Happy people, happy people.